Columbus sets sail with the other two ships. They head back to Spain. When he gets to Sevilla, as he's getting to Sevilla, he knows it's going to take him a while to unload the ships and get everything in order and start preparing for the next journey, hopefully. So he decides to write a letter to Isabella to send it ahead so that she can read the letter. She'll have basically been debriefed before he arrives to make contact with her. And in the letter he says, the Taino, the Native Americans on Haiti, were the kindest, most gentle people I had ever met. Their generosity was not exceeded by any people I've ever encountered. They shared their food, their shelter, they even shared their women. A few men with swords could make slaves of them all. Isabella goes, this is amazing. And she sends him on another journey, a second voyage, the very next year, 1493. This time it isn't 3 ships, it's a fleet. And this time it isn't just a bunch of sailors. They're sending carpenters and masons and marines and priests, and they send animals, because their goal in 1493 is not exploration, it's conquest. Columbus wasn't an explorer, he was the first conquistador. He is going to set the pattern for what the Spanish do after that moment. He's not a Spaniard, right? He's Genovese, he's Italian. But all the great ship's captains at the time were Italians with some Portuguese for good measure. So even John Cabot, the famous English captain, his name was Giovanni Cabotti. Even he was an Italian. That's just how it was. Columbus lands, finds the fort that they made out of the Santa Maria burnt. So, any good investigator would now go ask all the witnesses, find out what the Taino in the area thought. He can talk to them now because he talked a group of Taino into going with him to Spain so that he'd have something to show the queen. And in the process, those Taino learned Spanish, so he now has translators. So when he comes back, he could talk to the Taino and go, dude, what happened to the fort over there? Did you see something like somebody drop a lantern and it caught on fire? What happened? Where are the sailors? Did they die? Were they burnt to death? Did you kill them? He doesn't. What he does instead is he just starts slaughtering the villages in the area. He rounds up the Marines, they get off the ship, and they just go on a murder spree. Because he wants to set a tone. I don't even care what happened to those Spanish sailors I set behind. If something happens to them, y'all are gonna die. And then he goes to the Taino and he goes, see this? So the reason why Columbus liked Haiti so much that he wanted to go back to it to set up the first Spanish colony there was because when the Santa Maria sank, right? And the Taino rescue him, when he gets to the beach, he's like, what is this? There were literally nuggets of silver on the beach. And he thinks, God has given me Haiti so that I can enslave the Native Americans and have them collect the silver for me so that I can become filthy rich. And so he goes to the Taino and he says, I need you every day to go to the beach and collect silver nuggets and bring them to me. And the Taino don't have a concept of being conquered. They don't have a concept of a fixed leadership. The Taino were this entirely egalitarian democratic society. So they had a concept of leadership, but not fixed leadership. So for example, they're going on a fishing expedition. Before they go, they want a leader because you want somebody to make those decisions, especially if something goes wrong. Being able to make quick decisions is good. And so what they would do is they would elect a guy. But the next time they're going on a fishing expedition, they might elect a different person. In other words, they had the concept of leadership, they just didn't believe that one person should be the leader always. And so to have Columbus show up and say, I need you to go to a beach and pick up the nuggets of silver, they're like, why? Why would I do that? And one of the things that Taino had was they had silver jewelry. Like they were wearing little necklaces and stuff. And he's like, where is all this silver coming from? And he realizes this is the beach because he had encountered Native Americans in Cuba. And they had silver jewelry. So, when the Taino don't bring him the silver nuggets, He grabs a group of them. He has them walk up to a table and put their hands on the table. He has the Marines chop their hands off and then cut the tips of their noses off. Some of the Taino get the message, right? Because they watch their friends slowly bleed to death as blood is pulsing out of their wrists. Some of the Taino go, okay, I get it. I think I'm a slave now. And they begin going and collecting the silver. They had no concept of slavery, but you know what I mean? Like they understood. I collect the silver or I get my hands chopped off. Got it. Collect the silver. Another group of them are like, I'm out of here. And they run away. They run into the mountains. And that's how Columbus introduces the Spanish to North America. That's what first contact looks like.